Comrades, before we move on to the last section of our service, I would like to open the floor to anyone who would like to contribute something, reflect on Harpal's life. Yes.
My name is Salvinder Dhillon, and I have very proud and fond memories of Comrade Harpal. I remember when Chugga was killed, a huge meeting in the Dominion Center about the intense struggles we faced against racism, and there was our comrade Harpal playing a very crucial role in guiding the youth that they can form an organization of the youth, and that gave rise to the Indian youth movement. I also remember incidences against the Vietnam War. So he stood against racism, he stood against war, and during the anti-Vietnam War, I think we met many, many times. But moreover, the struggle of the Indian workers as well as the British workers, because in this country, Harpal made a role model. He stood for Indian Revolution, he stood for the working Indian worker struggles, and took an active leading role in many of those struggles. And then here is a large number of people who played a very leading role in forming organizations of the British working class and giving rise to the founding of the Communist Party of Britain, Marxism-Leninism. So he has left a proud legacy, a role model for Indians and the British working class, and he will live with us forever in the as a role model page and the revolutionary thinking, because it's the revolutionary consciousness and the thinking, and he made a big contribution next year that is going to be the guiding light to bring revolution in this country and to the world. Thank you.
This is Aunty Sade to us. Follow Sade Ladi, Princess Buki to others. To us, she's like part of our family. We've been blessed to know her and have her in her family, helping us look after our family when we're often, my wife and I, Sarah Tang and myself, we're both doctors, we work long hours, but we have a family, and without Sade, we couldn't really carry on. And do you want to read this yourself? She's very keen to say something, but is shy. So I've dragged her up here anyway. So you know that it's from her. So it's very short and it's very touching, so I'm just going to read it to you. So it says, to the world, he was known as Harpal Bra. I'm deeply saddened by the passing of Dadaji. Dadaji is Punjabi Hindi for father's father. And so that's what my children call Grandad, basically. So I'm deeply saddened by the passing of Dadaji, a truly remarkable man. I had the honor of knowing him for over 15 years, caring for his grandsons, and his kindness and generosity always stood out. These are her words. Honestly, they're not mine. He invited me to India and treated me with such warmth and respect. Dadaji always expressed his gratitude for me taking care of his grandchildren, which truly touched my heart. I'll truly miss his walks around the garden where he always shared his wisdom with me, his legacy of love and kindness. And that's all.
Hi everyone, my name is Vicky Harper and I'm a member of the Communist Party of Great Britain, Marxist-Leninist. I just wanted to say a few words about Harpal's impact on my political life. I grew up in a communist household, but I didn't become an active communist until much later in my life. I understood and believed in the principles of a socialist society, but I lacked the language and deeper political, philosophical and economic understanding. My time came when I felt that the political situation had radically changed and I felt compelled to act, and I joined our party several years ago, knowing of it through my mother in Australia, who had had sort of historical comradely interaction with Harpal. Closer? Sorry. It's funny because just after I joined the party, I attended a funeral of a woman that I had known quite well in the Labor Party. And who should be there but an ex-Labor Party colleague who was an ardent trot and a member of the AWL. We were catching up afterwards, and he asked what I'd been up to since I'd left the Labor Party, and I said I'd joined the Communist Party. And he said, "Oh, which one?" And I said, "Oh, the Communist Party of Great Britain, Marxist-Leninist." And he said, "Oh no," with his eyes widen in horror, "that's Harpal Bra and his family. That's a lunatic sect." And I thought, talk about pot and kettle. Well, sect or not, lunatics or not, I am proud to be part of this family, the family that Harpal and his comrades gave birth to several decades ago. It fills me with immense pride, and I'm so appreciative of the input Harpal had on developing my understanding of the correct political line. On several occasions when Harpal was in India, we would chat on a Sunday, and I would express my regret about how long it took me to find the party and how much I had to learn in what years I had left. In his inimitable and pragmatic way, he suggested that regret was wasted energy and I would be better off applying that effort to my studies. And I have. The wisdom Harpal imparted has had a huge impact on my political development, and his videos and written material will continue to enrich my political understanding. His dedication to the fight, his implacable values and integrity reflect the characteristics of all great revolutionaries, and it is in his footsteps that my development treads. I will always be proud and appreciative to have crossed his path.
My name is Wilf Dixon. I've known Harpal Bra for many years, from when I first came to London in 1968 and joined with my brother, Phil Dixon, who has passed away now, what was then a group of communists that were also struggling for the re-establishment of the party and the building of a party in the principles of Marxism-Leninism and struggling against revisionism. It was a time at the beginning of the Cultural Revolution which inspired many communists to break with revisionism throughout the world. And the period of struggling for a revolutionary party is a period that needs to be studied in itself, historically, with the individual study, because there were many achievements and many failures. And I've learned a lot from this meeting about the contribution and the achievements of Harpal, which I will certainly learn from. I want to refer to one thing, and that is in the struggle against opportunism. The Communist Unity Association were taking part in the Zimbabwe Solidarity Campaign, which we actually broke with in the course of time and made a self-criticism to the Zimbabwe Solidarity Front as having the correct line of consistently supporting ZANU. I wrote that letter myself of self-criticism. I can't remember the reply. I don't even know whether we received one, but I certainly wrote that letter. And I just want to say that the struggle against opportunism is very important in the struggle for a revolutionary party. These thoughts have come to me from actually listening to the contributions at this meeting, which I've learned a great deal from. But I made a few points of my own also. I regard Harpal as a significant figure in the history of the Marxist-Leninist movement and anti-revisionist movement in this country. Very significant. He will be remembered for his consistent stand and anti-imperialist contribution in support of the people's struggle in Zimbabwe and South Africa, Vietnam and Indochina, Palestine, Ireland, and many others where US imperialism and NATO invaded and interfered. His support and defence of Stalin and the Soviet Union against the slanders and imperialist-inspired critiques of the multitudinous scribblers assured of publication by the reactionary media and press is well documented. He was a man who made his contribution at a time at the time when Khrushchev's notorious speech, never published in the Soviet Union, threw the international communist movement into ideological disunity and confusion, and inflated the arrogance of US imperialism and all reactionaries. A contribution very much of its time. I think I want to emphasize that Harpal's contribution is very much born of that period of struggling against Soviet revisionism, Khrushchevite revisionism, and re-establishing the theoretical basis of Marxism-Leninism. Because we must not forget that it was Khrushchev's speech that threw the international movement into ideological confusion, which was the precursor to the actual undermining of socialist construction in the Soviet Union and its final collapse. The struggle against opportunism and social chauvinism in the British working class movement is of paramount importance and is ongoing. Harpal's contribution in this is well established. However, I want to add something to this. Mao Zedong wrote the great work, The Handling of Contradictions Among the People. And we must always hold this as an extremely important work in differentiating contradictions with the enemy and the people. Learning to recognise and know our enemy is the key to the struggle against opportunism. As Mao has said, learn how to handle and differentiate contradictions among the people from those with the enemy. Uphold unity whilst persevering in principle. I wanted to make those 2 points. Thank you, comrades. I finish by saying, yes, we must uphold Harpal Bra's indelible contribution on the history of the struggle against revisionism, opportunism, and building a Marxist-Leninist movement in this country. Thank you.
Hello all. It's a message of solidarity. So I wasn't prepared to speak today, so I'll keep it brief. But it's just a message of solidarity from the remnants of the Indian Workers Association that Harpal uncle, all those many years ago, laid the foundations for. My name is Mandeep Dhillon. I'm from the Greenwich and Bexley branch of the Indian Workers Association. I'm the General Secretary. I'm the next generation of that twinkle in Harpal uncle's eyes that he envisaged, and we hope to take it forward. It's just, my earliest memories of meetings in Southall, all getting together, hiring a minibus and heading up to Southall in a kind of jovial spirit, knowing that we were doing something really good. Those memories will always stay with me. Harpal uncle was my uncle, Hardev uncle's closest friend for many years. I hear many stories about the good times where they kind of sit around, share the revolutionary history of India, and I eavesdropped, picked bits up, and it did, like comrades have said before, it unlocked that key in me, and it gave me that consciousness, and that's something that will never be taken away, and I hope to give to my kids, and that's something I'm truly grateful for Harpal uncle for, and for the family that he's given us, Jyoti, Ranjeet, and everyone, Carlos. So yeah, that's a message from the Indian Workers Association. Thank you.
Comrades, my name is Asanga Karunadhara, and I'm a member of JVP, Communist Party. I'm not just the one member of one Communist Party, actually 2. I'm also a member of CPGB-ML. I was fortunate enough to see and got to know a little bit about Harpal, but I wasn't that fortunate, but I didn't have much dealings with Harpal. But my comrades in our party, JVP, from Sri Lanka, they had great dealings with Harpal, and CPGB-ML really helped in early days for our party in the UK. And Harpal would have been very proud that today JVP is in power in Sri Lanka. Even though I didn't know much about Harpal, today I've learned a great deal about Harpal through all the talks that we listened to. And he's a remarkable character. I could see that from all the emotions and the politics that others had to say about Harpal. And also the legacy that he left behind, the party and the 2 children. He must have been a great, remarkable father. And he is a great loss for all of us. Thank you, comrades.